Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here with me today, I have a stud linebacker I'd like you guys to meet. His name is Ethan Barr. He is out of UCF there in Central Florida. Nice to meet you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me on here.
Sure thing. Actually, by way of Vanderbilt, was at Vanderbilt for 4 years. And obviously, with this pandemic situation, had another opportunity to play. Went to UCF, closed things out well with them, and positioning yourself as a linebacker in this upcoming draft. So, I feel like you have a lot to bring to the table, buddy. So, why don't we go ahead and get after it? Introduce yourself and let's get started.
Yeah, so my name is Ethan Barr. I'm from Flower Mound, Texas, which is just outside of Dallas. I went to a school called Marcus High School in Flower Mound. Went to Vanderbilt for 4 years, graduated from there, and did my last year at UCF and finishing up my master's degree in educational leadership currently, but also training right now. I trained in Nashville at X3 and looking forward to pro day. So.
Gotcha. Had to put in my notes educational leadership, which we'll get to eventually. But Ethan, before we get to your college days, kind of want to take things back as far as we could potentially go.
Yeah.
How long have you played football?
Yeah, I've played since I was I think I started playing when I was five, flag football when I was five and six, and then started playing tackle ever since. And it's been my number one sport since I was little. So kind of knew this
So,
was always something I wanted to do.
so have you always played linebacker? I mean, have you played the
Uh,
other side of the ball? I mean, talk to me about the early days of you developing into the athlete that you are.
yeah, so I started off playing actually my first year of football. I played like center, guard, and like defensive tackle and flag. And that's kind of what I played for the first couple of years. Played a little bit of running back. Played some receiver, stuff like that. Played some defensive end, played a little bit of linebacker. And I started actually kind of getting to a serious quarterback little stint there towards like when I was in probably fourth, fifth, all throughout middle school until my freshman year. And then I was starting to get a little bigger and realized it was time to go hit people and do that full time. So yeah, I played quarterback and safety, and then I switched over and did linebacker throughout the rest of my high school career. Did a little bit of running back as well, and then fullback and some tight ends. So
Gotcha. And I also have in my notes you did a little bit of long snapper too.
yeah,
So
long snapping is something that I enjoy doing and something I did in high school. And yeah,
yeah, I mean we'll maybe talk a little bit more about that. So when I was trying to do a little bit of research on you as a high school athlete, dude, I am looking at that roster there for Marcus High School, which is just stacked,
yeah,
full of excellent talent, of really some guys who could be at the top of the NFL draft next season, in the quarterback. Bro, talk
yeah.
about like that team that you had during those days.
Yeah, we had a really good team. Garrett Nussmeier was our quarterback, who's the quarterback at LSU right now. J. Michael Sturdivant, we had a receiver, and
Mhm.
he just transferred to Florida, and so they were a great duo. We had a number of other guys that when kind of played and bounced around or done playing now. And before the year before that, though, we had an even crazier team. A guy named a running back, or we had a guy my senior year named Tyson Edwards who played at Columbia as well, and then. But before him, we had a running back named Justin Dinka, who was really good, like 2,000 yard rusher or something like that, when played at San Diego State and some other schools. An O lineman who went to Auburn named Justin Osborne, Marcel Brooks, who went to LSU and now finished up at TCU. So some other guys that played at Navy and things like that. So we had a pretty stacked team, and we had a lot of success my senior year. And yeah, Nuss and J Mike were definitely the ones to carry us in that.
Well, sure. I mean, you got some stud guys at this high school. A lot of them you just mentioned. And so there's got to be countless college scouts
Hmm.
around, more or less, trying to figure out. Okay, well, here we have a lot of good talented players. What are we going to do with them? And so out of high school, how was the recruiting for you?
Yeah, it was a little slow at first until like the end of my junior year. I got my first offer to Tulane, and then had gotten some other like group of five offers, one to like Louisiana Monroe, Tulsa. My first offer was Tulsa, excuse me, and then I got Louisiana Monroe, Tulane, Air Force, and I actually committed to Tulane out of high school, and until my literally right until signing day my senior year. So I was committed to Tulane for like 6 months or something like that. And then actually, like you said, we had a lot of guys coming around to see us and J Mike and stuff like that. And Vandy was making their rounds and visiting, and they still needed a linebacker in the class. And my coach showed them my film, and I went down there and talked to them, and they had me go on a visit, and I absolutely loved it. So I switched and committed to Vandy.
Hey, and Vanderbilt, I think for a lot of fans, maybe perhaps looking at Vanderbilt a little differently. Of course, playing in the SEC, but often never getting any sort of love, any great success there. But certainly coming around these days with what
Yeah,
they have going on. So very interesting. But again, they were looking for a linebacker that they could really depend upon. And dude, you were it. You
yeah,
started for them. Really 4 years straight.
yep,
Put yourself in a solid position. I have in my notes that amongst your time at Vanderbilt and at UCF, we're looking at a guy with 51 career starts,
yeah,
which to me is just astounding. Having that type of success, having maybe perhaps minimal inner injuries because you have to be
right.
available, of course. But dude, let's talk about your time there at Vandy before we get to UCF. So early on in your development at Vanderbilt, how did that work with you?
Yeah, so I kind of came in and I was really just hoping to get in and make the travel squad. Honestly, I didn't want to have to stay home on Saturdays, and so um, I ended up honestly getting a little more than that. I was lucky enough to some things happen, and I think I solidified myself as a potential guy who could come in and play. But I got to play like my third drive of my first game in college, and so that was like so crazy, and it was against like A&M, and it was just so surreal because I that's not really what I had even expected of myself, but I think I exceeded my own expectations, and I was just very fortunate to be put in that position. And I got to play in every single game, had like significant time in a lot of games, and got to start like 3 or 4 games. And so, yeah, the beginning of my career was something that I was really hyped about, and it set me up to have a lot of success.
And of course, had another year because of this whole pandemic situation. I mean, you were able to have one more year where you went ahead and put your name in the portal and you end up at UCF.
Yeah.
How did that work with you transferring? Can you walk me through it?
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy deal. And so I got in the portal and yeah, took some visits. First visited UCF. I really loved it, but I was also talking to Washington at the time, and I went and visited Washington as well. I decided to go to Washington, and so I moved up into Seattle. Went there, was like working out, and we were just working out with the new guys that came in, transfers and freshmen, and I got to go down to like the championship game and be a part of that. And we got back, we were ready to roll. Like, well, we were all looking forward to come like get going and um, starting up with a new team that they had. But then Coach DeBoer took the job at Alabama. The whole coaching staff left,
Mm.
and I kind of just was kind of in between and didn't really know what to do. I still didn't know a whole lot of people on the team because it was new and they were on a break because they had just got done playing. And so I ended up getting in the portal again and transferring to UCF is where I felt very comfortable at, and where I think they also wanted me as well, and I kind of knew the situation. And so yeah, I was fortunate enough that Coach Malzahn let me transfer to UCF and take me on, and I got to be a part of that organization. So
And UCF loved you well enough to give you a whole lot of responsibilities. Of course, I mean you
yeah,
end up starting like the entire season,
yeah,
and again, we're looking at a guy that's been dependable throughout his career. Was a team captain at Vanderbilt and at UCF, which you don't see too often, where guys kind of carry over with that level of leadership. Talk about the type of linebacker you have been over the years. Can you kind of define yourself as an athlete?
Yeah, I think I'm a guy that can. I've mainly played in the box, so I like to think that I can take over the box and really play tackle to tackle, and also sideline to sideline. My sophomore year, I had 3 picks and really had an impact on the game in that way, and something that I think I haven't seen the results like that, but feel like I've continued to improve in terms of man coverage and my zone coverage abilities, and just impact in the pass game as well. And so I think I'm an all-around linebacker that can do a lot of things. I've come down this last year. I came down on the line a little bit and dropped out and rushed some, blitzed a lot more this year, and I feel like I got to showcase every asset and every talent that I have, and so. I feel like I had a big year and was able to, show my sideline to sideline speed and my ability to, be very effective in the pass game as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at a guy almost 6'3", 235 pounds, somewhere in between all of that stuff, of course. I mean, a guy who generally has been in, there, in the middle of the field, maintaining like his position there in the box with the ability to, kind of, like you had mentioned, drop back, be effective in coverage. But then, of course, shut down things, in front of you and just sort of be the, general there
Yeah.
of the defense. So let's break this down even more, man. What do you feel is perhaps one of your best attributes as a prospect in this year's draft?
Yeah, I think I didn't even give myself kind of this credit, but you said it yourself, kind of being the general on the field. Like, I think, this year, especially, I feel like I had a big impact in that and just getting people lined up and helping everyone figure out like what was going on pre-snap. Not that, my teammates didn't know what was going on, but I had a big play on the front four and also the back seven. Like I was a big connector between the two. And so I feel like I really helped our team when it was needed most and allowed for us to have some success, like especially later in the season defensively. Um, and yeah, beyond that, I think I diagnose plays very well. I kind of sniff things out and I think that comes a lot through preparation, but also just my knack for the game and understanding of football as well. So yeah, those are probably the top two qualities that I have.
Gotcha. I was also looking, at your PFF stuff, and bro, you've got so many snaps on special teams. It is
Yeah,
unreal.
yeah.
It's over 600. I didn't even write
Oh,
it down
wow.
because I mean it's just insane. Like over the course of your career. So, talk to me a little bit about you and your attitude towards special teams, and maybe even more specifically your favorite position on special teams.
Yeah, no, I think special teams is always something I like asked to be on, and like, coaches always try to take me off because I do take a lot of defensive snaps, but I always ask to be on it just because I feel like I can help the team best in that way versus maybe another player. Um, I've did like the shield and punt. I was a guard and pro style punt. I played frontline KOR, did kickoff this year. And so I really have done it all. I played long snapper in high school. I actually scored a touchdown at long snapper in high school, or like a 2 point
What?
conversion. It was illegal. It was very illegal, but it kind of happened. It was a weird deal. But no one caught it, and I didn't even realize it until after the play. But no one caught it. But anyways, yeah, I feel like I can add so much value to the game in that way. Just being an instinctive football player and someone who wants to do it and is eager to do it, I think I'm able to provide so much value in that regard. And I've done everything, so I know how to do it at a high level.
So, would you potentially be willing to go back to long snapper if someone had
Yeah,
asked you to do that? I mean, I
100%.
don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much practice you're doing of that as of late, but I mean, I definitely feel like it's kind of nice to be able to have that as a possibility. Again, as a player, the biggest thing that you would like to have is just several positions that a team can utilize you in. So, hey, something else to maybe look back into and
Yeah.
get yourself
Exactly.
prepped up in the event that someone asks you to do that at the next level. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Ethan, let's talk about some of the highlights of your career.
All right.
Let's look back. Let's look back at your time at Vanderbilt. Um, Several seasons, man. So I mean, I'm going to give you the reins here as to maybe perhaps where we would go, but favorite memory, favorite moment or game that comes to mind, like when you think about your time at Vanderbilt.
I think my favorite game was like the favorite memory I guess I have kind of two games and really probably the two biggest, yeah, definitely the two biggest games that I had in my time there was my junior year we beat Kentucky at Kentucky and then we played Florida at home and beat them and like that was just like a huge it was back-to-back weeks and it was like towards the end of the season we were kind of on a little losing kind of a losing streak and it was a tough deal but we were able to fight out of it and turn the table for us and kind of give us an opportunity to be a bowl eligible team coming into week 12 and so yeah it was a huge deal we won I think against Kentucky like we were down with a minute or so left we've been up for a while in the game and our quarterback completed a fourth down pass that allowed the drive to extend and go win the game for us that was huge and then um, against Florida it was kind of a back and forth game and we were able to kind of pull it out late and so uh, yeah it was just a great memory and two big wins that were very just the biggest ones that I had at that point in my career.
Nice. Try to pull out one game from this season. Of course, this season wasn't exactly how you guys would have wanted it to turn
Yeah,
out. I mean, again, coming out of it with a 4-8 record. But you did have a really solid game versus Arizona. It's kind of
yeah,
like their welcome to the Big 12 moment. Maybe perhaps where you went out there and completely beat the living snot out of those guys,
yeah, yeah.
6-12. And you came out of that game with a fumble recovery. Can you walk through that memory?
Yeah, so I think they had done some sort of like power play. I think we may have had like a safety blitz on or something like that, or maybe our safety came down and hit it. I think maybe we might have been in like a single high. I can't remember, but he came down to fit in, and I was just kind of scraping over top, and it was super wet and rainy, so the ball had like popped out, and I went to go scoop it up. I say this now; it's easy to say. I should have had a scoop and score it. It was wet, and I slipped out of my fingers, but I was able to jump back on it and recover it and get the ball back for our team. So it was a huge deal, huge play. It felt good to get a turnover. I hadn't had one in a couple years, and so it was definitely one of the most memorable moments of this season.
I mean, hey, it is what it is. I mean, when the weather is crappy, I mean,
Yeah,
it's hard to, get a handle on the ball. And so all you got to do, man, is secure it. A turnover is a turnover.
exactly.
It'd be nice if you would have scored, but I
It would
mean,
have. It would have.
hey, you put your team in the position to go out there and get the job done. So,
Yeah,
but obviously had a very good game there. Anything else from this past year that comes to mind, or no?
man. I think that game. I think I had a really good game against Utah. Had a bunch of plays all over the field, some in the backfield on some blitzes and things like that. Um, those are probably the two funnest games that I had, and I just felt like I was playing free, playing the best ball that I had played up to that kind of this probably season. I feel like those are two games that I really put together a really solid game. It was good to come back home to Texas and beat TCU, where I'd watched a bunch of games at TCU growing up, and so coming back home and being able to pull off that win, especially the way that we did, it was just a resilient team that you kind of saw come out in the second half, and we came back from like a 28 point deficit or something like that, and we're able to pull out the win. And so we were playing some really good ball. Probably the best football we played was that in that second half of that game all season. And I was really proud of our team the way that we came back and showed just grit and resiliency and not giving up when it was probably the worst it could have been.
And then after your season was over, you get an opportunity to participate with the Tropical Bowl. Talk a little bit about your week there. Maybe some of the interactions that you have with people and all that. Again, Tropical Bowl,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, no, the Tropical Bowl was really a really good experience just to be able to get out there on the field and kind of showcase my talents, but also just play more football. I think, at this point in your career, you just hope for another opportunity to put on the pads again, and that's what we work for at the end of the day is we work, do all the work we do to get to actually play the game, and so I really enjoyed it. It was a good time, and I feel like I displayed my abilities well and showcased who I was as a player and just my personality well, and was able to talk to a team and just get a good experience through that, and just represent myself in UCF in a really good way. So
Cool. And obviously, right now, training for your pro day. I can't remember if you had mentioned this on this video yet or not, but go ahead and say where you're training and when that pro day is.
yeah, so I'm training back in Nashville at X3 Nashville. Shout out to them. They're a great training facility. I feel like they've done a great job getting me prepared. And that just kind of came to an end. So I'm back home in Texas right now training, and they send me stuff to do. So I got some more stuff to do today actually, but kind of get wrapped up here as we get into pro day. My pro day is on March 19th, the Big 12 pro day at the Star. So it's going to be a good time, and I'm looking forward to it. We're going to be ready to show out.
So, out of all of these pro day drills, which one do you think? Which one are you most proud of? I guess
Shoot, most proud of? Uh,
that of
Really,
course
I
we
mean,
don't
out of the
we haven't
drills,
seen them
like
yet.
the linebacker drills or like the testing?
Any of it?
Any of them?
What
All
do you
right.
think is?
Shoot, I think I'm pretty proud of my shuttles. We did a mid a midpoint testing, and I ran like a sub 7 L drill and a 4.13 5.10.5. So I was pretty proud of those. I feel like I'd improved like significantly in those two areas and kind of just show my ability to move and bend. Um, on top of that, I think my 40s improved a lot, and just I'm aiming to run in the 4.6s on pro day, and I think I'll be right there. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think I'm gonna showcase my abilities really well, and hopefully adrenaline has a little bit part to doing it, and can peak and do even better. So
I mean, hey, it's nice. I mean, and again, you'll get a chance to have that pro day. Do you just have one pro day again? I mean, it's just the
yeah,
Big 12 pro day, right?
yes sir, just Big 12 pro day.
Okay, cool. So, had a great chance to meet you as a football player. Want to get a chance to meet Ethan Barr outside of football, if at all possible.
Yeah,
Uh, First, tell me a little bit about you as a student, because you had mentioned earlier something with regards to educational leadership.
yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about your academic achievements.
Yeah, so at Vanderbilt, I got my degree in human organizational development. And if you have ever heard anything about Vandy, that's kind of one of the main like kind of staples from Vandy that kind of separates themselves as different than any other school. And it's really cool. I think you learn a lot about leadership, just organizational structures, things like that. And a lot of people end up being consultants, and so we'll see if that's ever for me someday. We'll see. Then I decided to go when I got to UCF. I decided to get my master's in educational leadership, and I always enjoyed teaching and kind of coaching and teaching through football, like my teammates and things like that. And I think I've had a lot of influential people that have helped me while I was growing up as well through schooling and things like that. So I feel like I just wanted to do something that I could see myself doing someday, which would be either coaching or maybe in an administrative role at a school. So um, yeah, it's been really good, and I've learned a lot.
Since you have mentioned it, who have been some of those influential people for you, man? Whether it be coaches, trainers, teammates, who has been maybe perhaps the most influential people for you in your athletic journey?
Yeah, I think my high school coach, his name is Coach Atkinson. He's the one who really got me to play linebacker full time. Uh, and I'm very thankful for that because I think it ultimately set me up to be the best, give me the best opportunity to play at the highest level, I guess. And so, very thankful to him, and I think he just did a great job helping me develop as a person as well. Someone who I still keep in contact today. And a guy named Tanner Antle, he was my linebacker coach at Marcus High School, and he ended up leaving for a little while. Now he's back at Marcus as the DC, and so we still talk a bunch. He was actually the officiant of my wedding, um, I asked him to do that for me and my wife, and he did a great job. And someone that like I kind of see as like a almost like an older brother or something like that is a mentor to me that I can talk to about a lot of different things. And he kind of went through the same process as well. He played at Tulsa, so and try to go on and play in the NFL, so I could talk to him and see just kind of what to expect and things like that along this time. Um, yeah, I would say those are probably the two of the a lot of very influential people to me in my early years.
The other thing that I was thinking is I want to say somewhere along the line, like they had you on like a watch list for like the Werfel Trophy or something at some
Yeah.
point. And one of the things that they had mentioned is that you helping out like in the community at the local Boys and Girls Club.
Mhm.
Talk about your time doing that.
Yeah, so when I was at Vandy, we did a whole lot of things. We did a lot of things at like elementary schools. I did my at Vandy when I was there through some NIL stuff. I was able to actually partner with like a hospitality house where they let people stay there for if they have like a long-term stint in the hospital. So I spent some time over there, like talking to them and getting to know them, and just hopefully being a bright light in their day that may not always be the best thing. So I really enjoyed giving back. Like growing up, I was in a thing called gosh, what is it called? I can't even think what it's called. Young Men's Service League or something like that. Yeah, that's what it's called. And I was able to like do a lot of community service work with like some special needs kids, and I just really enjoy giving back because I think the best thing that we can do in this like just world is give back to people that can't always have or are limited in the availability or opportunity to what I have myself. So I really do enjoy giving back, and that's what I do try to prioritize that for some other people that may be looking up to me and things of that nature.
Any other fun fact about yourself that you want to share, Ethan, before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I did say I married my wife Delaney. We actually have been together for over 9 years now. We started dating way back and just got married this summer. So um, she's been great. She's moved around the kind of the country with me. She went with me to Washington, then moved with me to UCF and Nashville, and now back home is where we're at now. We've got a dog. We got a little like English lab, and so that's kind of me. I like to spend time with them. That's really who I'm with all the time, and so uh, yeah, I like to enjoy being outside, fish, watch movies, chill. Pretty chill guy. So yeah, that's
All
me.
right. Well, hey, definitely got to be lucky to have a lady in your life who's been loyal, who's been your rock
Definitely.
for 9 years. Wow. You
Yeah.
guys have really stood the test of time, and want to wish you, continued success in that relationship.
Thank you.
Ethan, we're at the point where we kind of need to wrap up our time because we've been at it for a while. Obviously, a guy who's an impact player, both on and off the field. A veteran leader who I know we can be used in several different ways as a player. As we wrap up our time, any final thoughts that you want to give to any of these scouts out there as to why you should be, drafted and signed and given your opportunity at the next level? Go ahead and close this out.
Yeah, I think and if whoever takes me, whoever drafts me, whoever gets me wherever they get me, I'm gonna give you everything I got. I think I do whatever it takes to succeed, and yeah, I'm a very reliable guy that is gonna be a like a beast on the field and be a great guy off the field and a great locker room guy. So that's who I am. That's who I've always been. If you ask anybody, and that's who I'll continue to be. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, reliability is, certainly out there. I mean, when you have a guy with 51 career starts, being a team captain at two different, schools, and now in a position where we're looking at him as an NFL prospect. So, Ethan, want to wish you all the best moving forward. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on here.
Sure thing. Once again, I got Ethan Barr, linebacker out of UCF. Check him out.